Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Headband Jay, and today we're going to be talking about a big trade that the Denver Nuggets made yesterday, which in my opinion makes them a championship contender. So I'm going to be talking about the trade, and I'm going to be talking about a couple reasons why I believe that the Nuggets just took the next step. So yesterday, before the trade deadline, the Nuggets sent Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a first-round pick to the Orlando Magic for Aaron Gordon. Now, if you guys know anything about these two teams, right, Denver for the last couple years has been on the rise. Back in 2019, they made the playoffs for the first time in like 6-7 years, and they lost to the second round, and they lost in the second round to the Blazers that year. And then last year in the bubble playoffs, they came back from 2 3-1 deficits and ended up losing to the Lakers in 5 games in the Western Conference Finals. But they showed a lot of improvement, a lot of promise, impressed a ton of people. Now, I'm actually a huge Nuggets fan. I grew up in Colorado. I've lived there most of my life. I don't live there anymore. But I am a huge Nuggets fan, and I've seen this team develop from day one, and I've been incredibly impressed with them. Their front office, it is amazing how they are able to find these players and draft them, because we have gotten some absolute steals. You know, we took Nikola Jokic from like a 43rd overall pick to a guy who's the front runner for MVP this year. You know, even guys like Jamal Murray, who are expected to be good scorers. I feel like he's a gem as well, because this is a guy who can drop 50 on any given night. And we also picked up Bol when he fell all the way down in the draft. I still feel like his ceiling is very high. And the last steal that we got was Michael Porter Jr., drafting him at 14th, because a lot of teams didn't want to take him because of the injury concerns with his back. But we decided, hey, let's take him anyways if he's going to be available. So the Nuggets front office has done a really good job. And over the last 4 years, they've improved a lot. And especially over the last 2 with making the playoffs, they have showed a ton of promise. The biggest thing with them is that they're just a young team. They have this kind of young team mentality where they struggle to finish games down the stretch. If you consistently watch the Nuggets, you would know that their worst quarter is usually the third quarter. They usually get out to a good lead by halftime, have a really good third quarter, and then they always come back in the fourth quarter. That's how most of their games go. This is common with young teams just because they don't know how to finish games. They don't have the mentality of like we have to finish and close them out right now. And usually the Nuggets, when they're playing really good teams, they will play up to their competition. And when they're playing bad teams, they'll play down to their competition. So you probably, if you played on high school or any kind of team or any kind of like youth basketball, you probably heard one of your coaches say that before. And that just happens to the Nuggets because you got to remember, you know, their 2 best players, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Nikola's 25, Jamal Murray's 24. So these guys aren't even close to their primes. Most guys get into their real primes at the end of their 20s. So it's really scary when you think about how good they can be and considering how far they've come. You know, but the Nuggets are a small market team. They definitely fly very under the radar, but they could easily make a championship run within the next couple years, especially as LeBron gets older. Now for the Orlando Magic, I don't know much about the Orlando Magic. I know that they traded away Nikola Vucevic, and I also know, and they obviously just traded away Aaron Gordon, so they are heading towards a rebuild. And with Markelle Fultz injured and also Cole Anthony injured, it looks like RJ Hampton, who was traded from the Nuggets to the Magic, is going to be able to actually get some playing time. And Gary Harris wasn't really getting that much playing time either. He's a good 2-way player, but he just kind of fell out of the rotation with the Nuggets. And as the years have gone on, his scoring ability has also gotten worse. So these are 2 pieces that the Orlando Magic can definitely build around, especially RJ Hampton. Now, being a Nuggets fan, I've seen RJ Hampton play a couple times this season. It's kind of hard to gauge where he's at in his progression as a player. Obviously, it's his first year in the league. A lot of guys struggle in their rookie year. The thing I noticed with RJ Hampton was that he looked extremely raw. It didn't really look like he had a bunch of moves to get to the basket. Doesn't look like obviously, he can shoot 3-pointers, can do step backs, can do a variety of complicated moves. He's a professional basketball player, but those skills have clearly not been able to translate yet for him to the NBA level. I think he's just probably really struggling with the speed and athleticism, because when you watch his high school highlights, he can do a lot of great moves, but I just never saw any of that on the Nuggets, because for him, RJ was just mostly trying to use his speed and just trying to drive in there and dunk over guys without even crossing over. This worked sometimes in garbage time, but it also worked against him because there were plenty of times where he turned the ball over just going way too fast or just not really being aware and not having finesse and pace with the way that he plays. So these are two good pieces for the Orlando Magic. Gary Harris, a veteran, been in the league a long time. By the way, thank you for everything you did for the Nuggets, Gary. Every Denver Nuggets fan really appreciates that. And RJ, didn't give our organization any troubles or anything like that. So big shout out to RJ too. But yeah, so along with this deal, the Orlando Magic are also going to be giving the Nuggets Gary Clark, I don't know anything about Gary Clark, and a 2025 protected first round pick. So Denver lands like one of the biggest deals in free agency. There were a lot of teams that were gunning for Aaron Gordon. I know that the Warriors wanted to, but they did not pull the trigger, and now the Nuggets got him. So I'm going to be giving you guys a couple reasons why I think that this can take the Nuggets over the edge. So the Nuggets kind of struggled defensively, especially within the paint defense. And there was even a quote about that Jamal Murray had earlier this season when the Nuggets lost a couple games and Jamal was feeling frustrated with how we don't have anyone in the paint. He said, like, we don't have anyone in the paint who can stop other bigger players, and it's not even really shade at Jokic. The Nuggets just really struggle with defense at times. They're one of the best offensive teams in the league, very average defensively. So adding Aaron Gordon will finally give them some size that they can use. Aaron Gordon, when I really look at the Nuggets roster, Aaron Gordon is probably the best defender on the roster now. Last season, the Nuggets had Torrey Craig, who was an absolute lock on defense. But Torrey Craig plays for Milwaukee, and I think he just got traded again. I think he got traded to Phoenix. So the Nuggets are going to really benefit from being able to use Aaron Gordon's defense. The second thing that Aaron Gordon will help out a lot is that Nikola Jokic finally has someone who he can throw lobs to. Anyone who watches basketball knows that Aaron Gordon is a high flyer, and this is going to benefit the passing of Jokic greatly because the Nuggets don't have anyone who can go up and catch an oop like that right now. Obviously, pretty much everyone on the roster can dunk, except for Campazzo. We're not exactly sure. But even Michael Porter Jr., his game is a little different at the NBA level than what I thought it would look, because when you look at Michael Porter Jr.'s high school highlights, you think he'd be dunking over everyone, but that just hasn't really translated for him yet. I think it will after he gets stronger, but Michael Porter Jr. is not someone who they consistently throw lobs to. Now Jokic finally has someone who is just a deadly jumper and who can really boom on people, so I'm really looking forward to see how Jokic and Aaron Gordon play together. And then the last part that will benefit the Nuggets because of this Aaron Gordon trade, it gives a little more star power. This guy Aaron Gordon is a guy who should have won the dunk contest at least once. It was the third time he was in the dunk contest. He definitely should have won when he jumped over Taco and just did some ridiculous stuff. So this is a player who's more well known. It'll bring more fans to Denver, more excitement to the games. And overall, I just think it's a really good match for the Nuggets. Michael Malone is an excellent coach, and as time goes on, he's going to be able to figure out how to incorporate Aaron Gordon into the offense. Aaron Gordon is also having a very solid season, and he's also improved his shooting and just overall playmaking a lot. And now that he's been in the league for a while, I feel like putting him with this team that's really starting to develop it's just going to benefit everyone. So and considering how little the Nuggets gave up to get him, they didn't give up players that they were even using. So this is a very good trade, and I think that this is going to work out really well for the Nuggets. I think they're going to finish within the top 3 seeds of the Western Conference this year, and they're definitely getting past the first round. But the West is such a throw-up, so we'll have to see. But I think the Nuggets are due for a championship within the next 3 years as long as they can keep this core together. Well, that's my thoughts on the Aaron Gordon trade to Denver. You guys should let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys soon.